Anyone venturing into the Amberlyn universe over the past decade will be aware of Amberlyn, the fitness expert. In Amberlyn's heyday, she was an expert rollerblader. She was an expert soccer player. In fact, she was so good she was part of the blue team. I don't know what that is. I don't play soccer. And finally, Miss Amberlyn was a dancing queen, winning several competitions for dancing and choreography. And people who were good at dance said she was good. Is any of that true? I don't really know. But what I do know is that I can analyze her fitness based on videos that she has uploaded to social media over the last 10 years. This is the second part of Amberlyn Reid Flexing to the Grave, the fitness edition, or How Fit is Amberlyn Reid Really? We are going to start with flexibility. How well can Amberlyn actually stretch her body? By now, everyone that wanted to see it has seen it, and that is the marvel of Amberlyn's flexibility and her touching her tootsies. Many people were amazed at her amazing flexibility. Other people gave her no praise at all, including me. Were those people haters? Nope. Am I a hater? Nope. It's just the fact that some people know that touching your toes is not a general measure of flexibility in the body. It's only a measurement of flexibility of a few muscles out of 650. Amberlyn might think I'm jealous of her contortion skills, but I'm not. I can place my palms on the floor. I also can do this. I did say in my last video that a lot of people with binge eating disorder are actually really active. Now back to that toe touching. To touch your toes, you need to be flexible in the hamstrings. And to be fair, Amberlyn has a reasonable amount of flexibility in her hamstring muscles. The hamstrings are three large important muscles in the back of the thigh. And you heard it, there's only 3 of them. The flexibility here is okay, Amber, but what about the other 600 plus muscles in your body?
So I've been having a debate with people online if I can touch my toes or not. So this is me bending my knees. This is me with straight legs. Again, bending my knees.
By demonstrating how flexible she is in the back of the thigh muscles, Amberlyn also unwittingly demonstrated how inflexible and how stiff her front thigh muscles actually were. These are the quadricep muscles. There's 4 of them. They're your front thigh muscles, and they are responsible for your knee to bend. If you don't have enough flexibility in the front thigh muscles, the knees won't bend very far. And guess whose knees don't bend very far? Amberlyn should have enough flexibility in her front thighs so when she bends her knees, her bottom and her knees are the same height. Compare her knee bend or a basic squat to that of a pensioner. Amberlyn can only squat to about 30 to 40 degrees with both feet on the ground. In order to walk, putting one foot in front of the other and not just doing steps on the spot, you need at least 75 degrees of knee flexibility. Without this, you are likely to waddle or limp. You will need at least 90 degrees of knee flexion for high stairs. But if you've got 40 to 45 degrees of knee flexion, you can manage fairly shallow or low stairs. Amberlyn's squat also tells me she doesn't have much flexibility in her ankles either. So Amberlyn's lower body or lower limbs are not very flexible. And due to her size, her upper body is also not very flexible. Can fat or obese people be flexible? Absolutely, in some of the joints. But when you become super morbidly obese, the fat will just get in the way of the joints moving and you will lose your flexibility. And that stiffness makes you really prone to injury. Although Amberlyn is generally inflexible, she will still flex on the tiny amount of flexibility that she has. The truth is, supermorbid obesity or morbid obesity reduces flexibility more than age. This is a 71-year-old woman, followed by a 91-year-old woman and another 91-year-old woman. Amberlyn is not flexible due to her size and her inactivity. Absorb the fact that this lady is 60 years older than Amberlyn. Next, we move on to strength. When I train people, I always say flexibility is like owning a dog. As long as you tend to it, it will be loyal to you and will remain with you forever. However, strength training is like owning a cat. You ignore it, she gone. You don't give it the right attention, she gone. You give it the wrong attention, she gone. You become stronger by exposing your muscles to high resistance or heavy weights. In conclusion, your strength is lost far easier than your flexibility. So, how has Amberlyn trained her strength? Please note the weight this elderly lady is lifting to train her strength and compare it with the weight Amberlyn is using to train her strength.
Because I definitely need to. Okay, so since this is my first day of doing this whole arm situation, I'm not gonna like give myself a certain amount of reps that I want to do.
I'm just gonna stop it here and just say she's picked the daintiest weights that she can pick when the platters of food that she eats during her mukbangs weigh 3 times as much as the weight she has chosen for her strength training.
I'm gonna see like what I can do first. Say I can do 13 arm ups before I'm done for. That means the next day, aim for 13 again or possibly 14.
It turns out Amberlyn's strength training program was not actually a strength training program at all. Lifting tiny weights lighter than your food plate repeatedly would never have built up strength in Amberlyn's arms. Remember what I said about looking after the cat? She gone if you don't attend to it properly. You build up strength by increasing the weights or resistance, so she should have bought herself a set of weights. And once she mastered about 8 to 10 reps in a weight, she should have moved up a weight, and so on, and so on, and so on. That would have trained her strength and also improved the tone in her arms and back. I would have actually recommended that she bought herself a set of resistance bands because they're cheaper, easier to store, and it's easier for you to track your progress of strength gains. But Amberlyn knows best, and she doesn't out and out reject information you give her. She just cherry picks what she wants to do. For instance, the execution of the exercises that she chose to do was 100% spot on. 10 out of 10. It was just the fact the weights were so light she was never going to improve her strength or muscle tone in her arms or back. So, is Amberlyn strong? No, she's not doing a manual job. She's not training for strength properly, and she also can't lift her own body weight. Her strength training priorities should have been using resistance bands and getting to the floor and trying to get back up again with no help. Now we are moving on to cardiovascular fitness. How well do Amberlyn's heart and lungs work? Your heart and lungs work together to pump oxygenated blood around your body. Amberlyn has some strange views about cardiovascular fitness.
And the fact that I can sing in the shower, let alone sing Skyscraper by Demi Lovato and like not be out of breath while hitting those high ass notes, just goes to show like, wow, okay, you're doing your thing, Amberlyn.
I've tested fitness on hundreds of people. I have not once asked anybody to sing like an opera singer. Just because you are able to hold a long note or hit a high note doesn't mean you have good cardiovascular fitness and you are going to win the New York Marathon. I am so fit I can sing has never been uttered by anybody on the planet apart from Amberlyn.
Just goes to show like, wow, okay, you're doing your thing, Amberlyn.
Back to reality. Your heart and lungs are proportional to your height. Your heart is around the size of your balled up fist. Taller people will have bigger hearts and smaller people will have smaller hearts. It's in proportion to your height. So when a person puts on weight, the heart and lungs have to work harder to get the oxygen around all that new body. Amberlyn Reid has a heart designed for a 5'2" woman, but her tiny heart has to work harder than Shaquille O'Neal's heart because there's more of Amberlyn than there is of Shaquille O'Neal. In fact, her heart has to work harder than the tallest human ever recorded on the planet because there's more of her than there was of him. Her heart is working flat out, just existing. This is why this happens.
Out of breath. You guys are about to learn I get out of breath rather quickly, but let's do this thing.
A Mini Cooper engine couldn't work in a jumbo jet, and a 5'2" woman's heart cannot work in a 500-pound body without giving up. Super morbidly obese people have no option but calorie restriction or they will die.
So we're going to start with the 1,200 calorie a day, high protein, low carb diet. So I'll give you a packet that breaks the whole diet down where you eat only 3 times a day, no snacking.
They can also strengthen their heart and lungs, so their cardiovascular fitness, by walking and building up distance. Yet again, Amberlyn wants to do it on her own terms.
Who says that I should walk outside? I'm not going to right now.
We are all given the same advice in life. Some people choose to ignore it and end up 500 pounds.
This is my outfit. Oh, look at that. Outfit of the day. So I'm actually about to do some...
If you can walk more than 100 steps and you have the space to walk forward, sideways or backwards, that is what you are supposed to be doing. Walking on the spot is easier than walking forward. However, you never improve your ability to walk forward. Amberlyn may try to fool herself that doing these steps on the spot is equivalent of somebody else going out and actually walking, but she's not going to fool her body. Cardiovascular fitness can only be improved in someone like Amberlyn by using distance goals or landmark goals. Number distance goals is just walking a little bit further each time you go for a walk. With landmark goals, you don't have to worry about numbers. It's just landmarks. You're walking to your front door. You're walking to your gate. You're walking to a tree. Then you're walking to a local shop. But you are improving that distance as well. The step walking is toil. It is boring. It is number crunching. And it's not going to help with her walking in everyday life. Amberlyn has utilised distance goals in her 1 mile challenge, but she decided it was too hard, abandoned that for walking on the spot, and then abandoned the walking on the spot for doing absolutely nothing. I talk more about this in Amberlyn Reid Debunking the Health Claims video. Our exercise queen also used landmark distances for helping her with her cardiovascular fitness, and guess what she did? She ended up walking on the spot. When I first saw her walking to the tree and around the tree, I thought, she gets it now. She understands what she has to do. She did well. She walked on grass, which is uneven and not easy to balance on. Then she walked on cement. She did a good job. She even had more energy in her tank. And instead of trying to go halfway back, walking on the grass again, she did this bizarre thing of walking on the spot. In the future, she would miss out walking to the tree altogether and just walk on the spot outdoors. Then she would elect not to go outdoors, walk on the spot in her home, and then eventually walk on the spot in her bedroom, and then give up walking on the spot completely.
I did take over 4,000 steps, and that was without even trying. I didn't even try.
You can say, I've walked 4,000 steps, I've walked a mile. But when you come to actually walking 1 foot in front of the other, a real mile, you're not going to be able to do that. If you make 200 meters, you are going to be lucky.
I have my mask with me. Thankfully, she has hers, but you have to wear a mask when you go in there, which is understandable if you do end up going in there because it is curbside.
I have reached out to Amberlyn about her walking. I've told her, Amberlyn, you've got to get sweaty when you walk. You've got to be out of breath when you walk. You have to feel thirsty when you walk. These are the symptoms that your heart is actually working hard. Your cardiovascular system adapts to the body being challenged, and it adapts by getting stronger and more effective, so your physical fitness, your breathing, your cardiovascular fitness will improve. Amberlyn won't do anything that makes her sweaty, out of breath, or thirsty, so she will never improve her cardiovascular fitness. In conclusion, Amberlyn's cardiovascular system is very poor only because she refuses to train it and she refuses to listen to advice. Muscular endurance is the muscle's ability to keep doing work without getting tired. So how good is Amberlyn's muscular endurance? Let's see. On the surface, all looks well. But I'm not here to look on the surface. I'm here to analyse her fitness. And there are 2 things I have to address when I talk about Amberlyn's muscular endurance.
There was a large portion of 2019, if not the whole 2019, where I literally couldn't shower. I bathed in bed. It wouldn't even be frequently. Like, Becky would get a container and she would put hot water and soap in it for me, and I would tell her to leave the room, and I would do what I could.
So when Amberlyn was bedbound and housebound, she wasn't really using her muscles at all. So that is not good. And secondly, when super morbidly obese people become immobile, they have a tendency to get lymphedema, which is also not good.
Your leg doing. So you got lymphedema in both legs? Let me see the other one. Yeah.
I told Amberlyn in the comment section she would get lymphedema if she didn't improve her activity, and she eventually got lymphedema. While there are several causes to lymphedema, Amberlyn's lymphedema was caused by inactivity. She has been very active on camera, but the body does not lie. That activity was solely for the camera. Taking into account all these things, I would have to rate her muscular endurance poor. However, I do like what she's doing here. Finally, we have agility. How quick and easy does our girl Amberlyn move? Because she lacks flexibility and strength, I can predict our girl is not going to be very agile. When Amberlyn tried to sit down in the water, she couldn't bend her knees. She also didn't have the strength or balance to compensate, so gravity took over. Amberlyn actually is the antithesis of agile. When you're agile, you can control your body. When you have no agility, gravity controls your body for you.
I haven't done it in forever. I don't even know if I can jump. I don't know how to jump anymore. I don't know if I can jump anymore. Woo. What the heck? Guys, this proves... I miss you, CJ. What does it prove? CJ. That I let myself go.
This moment there was no one to blame, and Amberlyn realised that she had messed up. You need agility in your body to jump, hop, skip and climb. Amberlyn can do none of these things. She even struggles to stand still because her balance on her 2 feet is so poor. Having lymphedema shackling her ankles won't also help with her ability to stand still. As you can see, Amberlyn has no real fitness that she can apply to her everyday life. For that reason, she will always be dependent on other people. This video is not an intervention for Amberlyn. From how she performs exercise, it is clear she has been spoken to by professionals and she cherry picks what she wants to do.
It made me lose weight when I was like 9, 10, when I was in an all-girls group home, but I didn't understand it. They tried to give me like low-fat milk.
All I can do is say her lifespan will be shortened, and one of the factors to this shortened lifespan is her incredibly poor fitness.
Don't mind the outfit, like, this is supposed to be Amberlyn chilling in her bed all day.
And I'm quite sure you will be.